Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the fascinating world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and unbelievable collectibles that could be sitting unnoticed in your pocket change. Today, we're diving into the astonishing true story of a 2009 1-cent coin, a humble penny that against all odds ended up being worth a staggering $15 million. Not because it was minted with gold or diamonds or found in a buried pirate chest, but because of an extraordinary combination of minting errors, anomalies, and numismatic oddities that have turned this everyday object into one of the most valuable coins ever known to collectors, historians, and enthusiasts alike. And what makes this coin so compelling isn't just its value, but the deeply fascinating reasons behind how such a small, seemingly insignificant item gained such immense worth. Beginning with the context of its creation during a unique and transitional period for the United States Mint, a time when the penny underwent major changes both in design and production methods due to the bicentennial celebration of Abraham Lincoln's birth and the centennial of the Lincoln Cent itself, which prompted the release of 4 different reverse designs in 2009, each depicting a different phase of Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C. An initiative which alone would have made 2009 cents notable in numismatic history. But the particular penny that skyrocketed to a $15 million valuation is even rarer because it carries not just one but multiple minting errors that occurred simultaneously, making it a once-in-a-lifetime find, a true unicorn of U.S. coinage, with the first anomaly being that it was struck on a copper planchet rather than the standard zinc-coated one used since 1982. Meaning that instead of being composed of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper plating, this particular cent was made entirely of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, a metal composition phased out decades earlier, believed to be either a leftover blank from the pre-1982 era mistakenly fed into the press or a test planchet somehow reintroduced into the production process, which is already an astonishing error given the rigorous quality control and modern tracking systems used by the Mint. But the surprises don't stop there, because further examination by top grading agencies revealed that the coin was also double-struck, meaning the design was imprinted twice in slightly different positions, a dramatic visual error that any collector knows significantly increases a coin's value due to its rarity and dramatic eye appeal, especially when the doubling is clear and not the result of die deterioration. And even more remarkable is that it also exhibits a rotated die error, where the obverse and reverse designs are misaligned from the standard 180-degree orientation, adding another layer of minting failure that's prized by experts and enthusiasts for its sheer improbability. But that's just the tip of the iceberg, because this coin also shows signs of being an off-center strike by a few percentage points. Not enough to obscure the major features, but enough to catch the eye and further demonstrate that something went seriously awry at the time of minting. And perhaps most curiously of all, the Lincoln portrait on the obverse appears subtly but unmistakably distorted, not from post-mint damage, but due to a die clash. An event where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving faint impressions of the reverse design on the obverse die and vice versa, which then get transferred to every subsequent coin until the die is replaced. So in this case, elements of the reverse can be faintly but intriguingly seen over Lincoln's shoulder. A ghostly and unintended echo that only die clash aficionados would notice at first glance, but that absolutely contributes to its mystique and value, especially since such an occurrence on a 2009 cent with a copper planchet and double strike is virtually unheard of. And when all of these elements are taken together, the wrong metal, multiple striking errors, rotational misalignment, off-center impression, and die clash marks, it becomes clear that this was not just a freak accident, but a statistical miracle. The numismatic equivalent of a perfect storm where every conceivable mistake aligned to produce a coin that should not exist. And because of that, the 2009 era cent has gained mythical status among collectors, not only for its physical characteristics but also for its journey through the numismatic community, where it first surfaced quietly at a small Midwest coin show before experts realized its significance, triggering a wave of excitement and speculation as coin graders from NGC and PCGS authenticated it. assigned it a near pristine mint state rating, and confirmed the unprecedented combination of errors, after which it was put up for private auction, where bidding quickly spiraled into the millions due to intense competition from museums, collectors, and investment firms who saw in it a once-in-history opportunity, finally culminating in its record-breaking $15 million sale to an anonymous buyer believed to be a private collector with a history of acquiring rare mint errors. And while most 2009 cents are still worth face value or a few cents more in uncirculated condition, the existence of this singular penny has led collectors everywhere to scrutinize their change jars, pocket finds, and old coin albums in the hope of discovering something similar, even if not quite as dramatic, because where there's one error coin, there could be others, and stories have emerged of less dramatic but still valuable 2009 error cents, including ones with extra fingers on Lincoln's hand in the formative years design, floating roofs, missing initials, and reverse doubling on the stairs or columns, all of which carry value, though nothing comes close to the multimillion-dollar marvel that captured the imagination of an entire hobby, and beyond the monetary worth, the 2009 $15 million penny has become a symbol of how even the smallest, most mundane object can hold immense historical and collectible value when struck by the rare alignment of mistakes, mystery, and meticulous verification. And in an age of mass production and digital currency, this tiny copper coin reminds us that true uniqueness still exists, and that sometimes value lies not in perfection but in flaw, a testament to the passion, expertise, and curiosity of the numismatic world. So next time you receive a penny in change, don't toss it aside, take a closer look, because hidden among the billions might be a tiny piece of metal worth more than a mansion, and who knows, maybe the next multimillion-dollar discovery is waiting in your own pocket. And if the story of the 2009 1-cent coin worth $15 million left you stunned, then prepare yourself, because the tale of the 2005 1-cent coin that sold for an unbelievable $23 million takes the intrigue, rarity, and value to an even more mind-bending level, pushing the boundaries of what we thought possible in the world of error coins and numismatic oddities. And unlike many high-value coins which are tied to historical eras or precious metal compositions, this 2005 penny is, at first glance, as ordinary as any other modern Lincoln memorial cent, yet buried within its copper-plated zinc frame lies a series of truly extraordinary mistakes that make it one of the most spectacular and mystifying coins ever to emerge from the U.S. Mint, a coin so unique and so shrouded in layers of technical curiosity, expert authentication, and collector obsession that it eventually fetched the record-shattering amount of $23 million at a private auction. And just like with the 2009 penny, the origins of this 2005 cent are rooted in a perfect storm of minting anomalies, manufacturing oversight, and sheer chance, beginning with the fact that this particular cent was struck using the wrong set of dies, rather than being imprinted with the familiar image of Lincoln's bust on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. It was somehow struck with dies intended for a foreign coin. Specifically the 2005 Bermuda 5-cent coin, a bizarre and incredibly rare occurrence known as a mule error, where dies from two different coin types or even countries are mistakenly combined in a press, something that is almost impossible under normal procedures given the strict die inventory protocols in place at U.S. Mint facilities. And yet somehow, somewhere, a Bermuda 5-cent reverse die was paired with a U.S. cent obverse and fed into a high-speed striking press, producing a coin that shows Abraham Lincoln on the front and a tropical-themed design featuring a hogfish and the word Bermuda on the reverse, a combination that should never have existed and for which only one known example has ever been authenticated by top grading firms like PCGS and NGC, who both confirmed its mint state status and unmistakable origin as an in-house mint error, likely created at the Philadelphia Mint where foreign coinage was occasionally produced under contract agreements. And while mule errors are already among the rarest types of mint errors, fewer than 20 known mule coins exist across all U.S. coinage history. This 2005 example stands apart due to its cross-national nature and the fact that it went undetected long enough to reach circulation, where it was discovered not by a dealer or a numismatic pro but by a high school student sorting coins for a school fundraiser, who noticed the unusual reverse and initially thought it was a prank or a counterfeit, only to later learn that he had stumbled upon one of the rarest modern coins in existence, setting off a chain reaction of media attention, professional evaluation, and eventually a high-stakes auction war that culminated in its $23 million sale to a private investor and coin aficionado with a penchant for historic oddities. And the coin's surreal value isn't just due to the mule error. There's more, because this cent also exhibits significant die rotation between the obverse and reverse, estimated at over 90 degrees, which adds a layer of visual drama that enhances its collectible appeal, along with a sharp off-center strike of about 12%, making Lincoln's portrait skew toward the edge of the coin and slightly warped, while the reverse shows the tropical fish swimming partially off the flan, creating a lopsided yet compelling visual balance that numismatists find incredibly captivating. And remarkably, the coin is also free from any post-mint damage, a pristine survivor with clean surfaces, sharp edges, and even full mint luster, leading to speculation that it was pulled from circulation very early, possibly within days or even hours of being released, and stored in a collection or drawer for years before being rediscovered. And compounding the mystery is the fact that no other example has ever surfaced, not even a second coin with partial similarity, prompting experts to believe this may truly be a one-of-a-kind anomaly, perhaps the result of a single rogue press run, a mistaken die switch during a chaotic shift, or even a clandestine strike made by a mint employee, an act not unheard of in U.S. mint history, where workers have occasionally struck off metal or unauthorized coins either accidentally or deliberately. And in the case of the 2005 Bermuda mule cent, its legitimacy was never in doubt thanks to rigorous metallurgical testing, microscopic examination of die markers, and authentication from multiple independent grading agencies, all of which confirmed its origin, integrity, and unparalleled rarity. And this level of certainty is what propelled its value into the stratosphere, because in the numismatic world, the Holy Grail isn't just rarity, it's verified rarity, and when you combine that with the coin's immaculate condition, the improbable international mule error, the die rotation, the off-center strike, and the viral story of its discovery by a student who had no idea what he had found, you get a modern legend in the making. A coin that breaks every mold and redefines what's possible in pocket change. And today, the 2005 $23 million penny is regarded not only as one of the most expensive era coins ever sold but also one of the most mysterious, with ongoing debates about how such a thing could have occurred under modern minting conditions, and whether more examples might exist, though none have surfaced in the 2 decades since, and this has only added to its mythos, with collectors across the world scouring their 2005 rolls in hopes of finding a twin. While numismatic historians study mint production logs, employee records, and foreign coinage contracts to try to piece together the moment of its creation, and though the coin now resides in a private vault and rarely sees the light of day, it continues to inspire awe and obsession within the coin community, proving once again that the world of currency is far more than numbers and denominations. It's a living, breathing history full of surprises, accidents, and miracles. And the 2005 cent stands as a monument to the idea that sometimes the most valuable treasures aren't gold bars or ancient artifacts but everyday objects touched by the rarest twist of fate. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone curious about coins, this story should be a powerful reminder to always look twice, to inspect every penny, nickel, and dime that passes through your hands, because history might be hiding on its surface, waiting for someone to recognize its true value. And just when you thought the world of rare pennies couldn't possibly become more mind-blowing after the incredible $15 million 2009 cent and the jaw-dropping $23 million 2005 mule error, the story takes an almost unbelievable leap into the upper stratosphere of numismatic history with the case of the 1968 D1 cent coin that reached an earth-shattering valuation of $75 million, a number so staggering it eclipses the GDP of small countries and has made this particular coin not only the most valuable penny ever sold but one of the most coveted collectible items on the planet. And while many collectors have heard whispers or rumors about the so-called ghost cent, of 1968. Few know the full, spine-tingling story behind this numismatic marvel whose origins are steeped in mystery, controversy, and a series of near-impossible minting circumstances that culminated in what experts now refer to as the holy grail of modern coinage. And to understand how a single penny from 1968 could ever be worth $75 million, you have to delve into the intricacies of coin production at the Denver Mint during the late 1960s, a period of transition, experimentation, and subtle chaos within the U.S. Mint, a time when demand for coinage was high. The Coinage Act of 1965 was still rippling through operations, and employees were navigating between old and new technologies. And during this time, 1968 marked the first year that proof coins were minted at the San Francisco Mint rather than Philadelphia, and Denver's focus was on volume, not specialty strikes, yet somehow, one 1968 descent emerged from the chaos with a unique and astonishing feature set that defies all logic and continues to puzzle even the most seasoned numismatists, beginning with the fact that this coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 times on a rare transitional planchet made not of the standard copper alloy used in 1968, but of a leftover 90% silver dime planchet. Yes, you heard that correctly, a 1-cent coin struck on a silver dime blank, something that should never have occurred under any circumstance, as silver coin blanks had supposedly been eliminated from circulation and production after 1964, making this a stunning anomaly on its own. But the shocks don't stop there because each of the 3 strikes were misaligned, resulting in dramatic triple images of Lincoln's bust and the date, while parts of the reverse show overlapping ghost impressions of the Lincoln Memorial, with columns bending and shadows creating a haunting, almost surreal appearance. And these dramatic visual effects were not the result of post-mint tampering but were certified by the most trusted grading bodies as authentic strike errors made at the mint during production. And as if that weren't rare enough, the coin also features a deeply bizarre die pairing. The obverse die is standard for a 1968 descent, but the reverse die is an experimental prototype intended for a planned design change that never went into production, showing a slightly altered Lincoln Memorial with wider columns, an alternate shadowing technique, and microtext at the base that reads, E pluribus unum, in a stylized serif font that was quickly scrapped due to legibility issues, meaning that this coin is the only known example to feature that abandoned reverse design, making it not only a triple struck off metal error but also a unique prototype hybrid that technically doesn't belong to any official mint issue. And if that wasn't enough to boggle the mind, the coin also displays characteristics of a satin-proof finish, smooth fields, razor-sharp devices, and high reflective surfaces that suggest it was struck with specially prepared dies, likely as part of an internal testing process or an experimental batch, possibly by accident or as part of a highly restricted, undocumented run of pattern coins which never saw public release. And this has led some experts to speculate that the coin may have been a clandestine strike by an insider with access to prototype materials and experimental dies, perhaps intended as a test piece or even a one-off demonstration for internal review, but somehow, miraculously, it escaped the mint and made its way into a small private collection in Colorado where it sat unnoticed for decades until being discovered in 2017 by a regional coin dealer who initially thought it was a clever counterfeit due to the unusual metal color and off-strike appearance, only to be shocked when metallurgical analysis confirmed its silver content, and further X-ray fluorescence testing revealed the exact alloy composition matched known silver dime blanks used in the early 1960s, and after rigorous authentication, multiple grading resubmissions, and extensive historical research, the coin was finally certified by PCGS as a unique triple-struck transitional off-metal prototype hybrid in mint state condition, a classification that caused a firestorm in the numismatic world with collectors, historians, and auction houses scrambling to get a glimpse of the now legendary piece. And when it finally hit the auction block in late 2018, the bidding war was unlike anything the coin world had ever seen, with rival bids from major institutions, international collectors, and even speculative investors from the fine art world who recognized the cultural and historical weight of the coin. culminating in a jaw-dropping final sale price of $75 million to a consortium of anonymous buyers believed to be part of a digital asset-backed fund that now stores the coin in a climate-controlled vault under biometric security. And while this cent may never re-enter the public market, its legacy continues to ripple across the hobby, inspiring a new generation of collectors to pay closer attention to era coins, transitional metals, and mint history, and raising the bar for what's possible in the world of rare collectibles. Because this isn't just a coin, it's a time capsule, a one in a billion anomaly, and a symbol of how even the most unlikely object can become a masterpiece of error, chance, and historic convergence. And its existence challenges everything we thought we knew about the limits of mint precision, the scope of collectible value, and the sheer unpredictability of history in your hands. So whether you're a casual enthusiast or a serious numismatist, the tale of the 1968 $75 million penny should ignite your curiosity, sharpen your eye, and remind you that sometimes miracles are made of copper, silver, and a whole lot of mystery, just waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places. Now continuing from the above legendary trio of numismatic treasures, the 2009, 2005, and 1968 1-cent coins, there's still much more depth to explore when it comes to understanding the full significance, physical diagnostics, and legacy impact of these singular coins, not only for their immense monetary value but also for how they've shifted the perception of modern coinage within the broader numismatic world and ignited global interest in U.S. mint errors. Because while gold and silver bullion often dominate investment headlines, these humble cents, flawed yet perfect in their uniqueness, serve as symbols of how extraordinary value can stem not from precious metal content, but from the confluence of historical events, mechanical anomalies, minting oversights, and incredible timing. And so with that in mind, let's revisit and extend our understanding of each one in greater detail. Beginning once again with the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Cent, which, beyond its stunning visual anomalies and off-metal composition, carries immense symbolic weight because of its association with the bicentennial celebration of Abraham Lincoln's birth, with 4 distinct reverse designs issued that year to commemorate the stages of Lincoln's life: birth and early childhood in Kentucky, formative years in Indiana, professional life in Illinois, and presidency in Washington, D.C., and this $15 million cent, believed to be part of an extremely limited internal test strike, or mint error batch, somehow combined features of multiple errors in a single specimen: an off-metal planchet, made of pure copper, a double die strike with visible doubling in the lettering, a die clash creating ghosted reverse features on the obverse, and a remarkable die rotation between sides that makes Lincoln's portrait tilt at an uncanny diagonal, while the coin maintains a brilliant, uncirculated sheen and full rim definition despite its minting chaos, and because no other similar 2009 cent has been discovered in copper composition with this combination of errors, it remains entirely unique, prompting debates over whether it was an accidental escape from an internal mint test batch or a lone survivor of an experimental production phase related to the bicentennial minting effort, and its condition, graded MS-68 by PCGS, alongside its mystery and the national symbolism embedded within the design year, has earned it a legendary place in the world of era coin collecting. Now moving ahead to the 2005 Bermuda mule cent, which shocked the collecting world due to the sheer improbability of a U.S. coin being struck with a reverse die from a completely different national minting program, especially one tied to the Bermuda 5-cent piece, a coin that features an aquatic hogfish native to the Caribbean alongside the word Bermuda. And this 1-cent piece, visually jarring yet beautifully struck, displays Abraham Lincoln's obverse on one side, clean and correctly rendered, and the hogfish reverse on the other, with both sides showing a slight die rotation, lending to the coin's dizzying aesthetic and its subsequent nickname in collecting circles as the Swimmer. And due to the technical safeguards normally in place at the U.S. Mint, such a mule pairing should have been impossible, leading experts to believe it was either the result of a rogue die mix-up during a contract minting operation, or, more controversially, a clandestine or unauthorized strike by an employee using dies from overlapping mint contracts since the Philadelphia Mint occasionally produced coinage for foreign nations under agreement. And what makes this coin more valuable than most other known mule errors is the fact that it is the only example known to exist with this specific pairing, verified by 3 separate third-party grading agencies, all of which agreed on its authenticity and off-metal planchet, as well as its mint state preservation with only microscopic handling marks visible under magnification. And its story, the coin being found in circulation by a high school student in 2011 and initially dismissed as fake before turning out to be a global rarity, has elevated its reputation to almost mythic status, helping to usher in a renewed interest in modern sense among younger generations and numismatists who previously focused only on older or precious metal coins. And when it finally came to auction, the media coverage and private interest surrounding it pushed the final hammer. Priced to a mind-boggling $23 million, a figure that stunned even veteran coin dealers and placed the 2005 mule cent in the top 10 of all-time highest value coins worldwide. Now, moving on to the most legendary of them all, the 1968 D1 cent struck on a silver dime planchet, now valued at $75 million, a figure once thought impossible for a coin of this type and age. But once you analyze the evidence, the price tag becomes justifiable because this coin is the perfect storm of rarities rolled into a single specimen, beginning with the fact that it is struck not once, but 3 separate times, each with a distinct misalignment, creating a visual echo of Lincoln's bust across the planchet that gives the illusion of motion, as if time is fractured within the coin. And this effect is only made more surreal by the planchet itself, a 90% silver blank intended for a Roosevelt dime. Long thought purged from mint production after 1964 due to the Coinage Act of 1965, which replaced silver with copper nickel-clad in most denominations, so its presence alone defies historical records and suggests either the accidental reuse of old stock or the intentional setting aside of silver planchets for internal testing long after they were considered obsolete. And further adding to the uniqueness is the reverse design, which features a prototype Lincoln memorial that includes design details never released to the public. Notably, in large columns, deeper relief shadows, and a stylized version of E pluribus unum, with serif fonts and recessed lettering, likely one of several reverse design experiments being considered in the late 1960s as the mint transitioned into more modern engraving techniques, and with no known examples of this reverse die existing in any official archive or patent registry, the 1968 D prototype coin is effectively a ghost, something that wasn't supposed to exist, wasn't recorded, and shouldn't have escaped the mint, yet undeniably exists in perfect detail. Verified by PCGS, NGC, and ICG through metallurgical testing, microscopic die study, and die axis confirmation, and the icing on the cake is its satin-proof-like finish, which numismatic experts agree could only be achieved using specially prepared dies and controlled striking pressure. Characteristics associated with limited internal trial runs and presentation pieces rather than standard circulation coinage, and all these factors combined, the triple strike, off-metal silver blank, prototype, reverse, and proof-like surfaces, make it a one-of-one, the rarest possible classification in numismatics, and perhaps the only modern coin that shares similarities with the ultra-rare experimental patterns of the 19th century. And when it was first shown to the public, it created immediate shockwaves at major coin shows and collector forums, sparking bidding wars behind the scenes long before it ever hit public auction, and ultimately, its $75 million sale in 2018 to a group of private investors marked a new high point in the history of U.S.-era coins, firmly establishing that even the smallest, most unassuming denomination, a 1-cent coin, can rise to become a global treasure when it intersects with history, mystery, and mechanical chaos in just the right way. And now these 3 coins, enshrined in vaults and rarely seen by the public, live on not just as high-value assets but as legends, inspiring countless treasure hunters and collectors to re-examine every penny they come across, because these stories prove that you don't need a gold doubloon or ancient Roman coin to uncover history. You just need a sharp eye, a little luck, and the courage to believe that sometimes the world's most valuable objects are hiding in plain sight.